Star Wars has been through a pretty rough few years. The Disney acquisition brought some good things, like the final season of Clone Wars and the first couple seasons of The Mandalorian, but aside from that, Star Wars media has been incredibly divisive and many longtime fans have been pushed away. However, the video game world has been a bit more fortunate when it comes to Star Wars media. Following the Disney acquisition, Star Wars games struggled due to EA's exclusive license that resulted in two underwhelming and controversial Battlefront games, but after the loot box fiasco of the sequel, the publisher turned things around with Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars Squadrons, and a massive overhaul for Battlefront 2 that actually turned it into a pretty awesome game. The upcoming Jedi Survivor also looks very promising, and Respawn Entertainment is eager to show us more of their upcoming Star Wars FPS, reportedly inspired by classic games like Jedi Knight Dark Forces and its sequel. So needless to say, Star Wars fans have been enjoying some great games based on the franchise, but recently a leak came out suggesting something I never thought I would hear. So in this video, we're going to go over everything we know about the potential Ewok-themed video game that leaked last week. But before we get into this, just know that you should take this one with a grain of salt because there's no official verification yet and none of the really trusted gaming insiders have said anything about it. I'm personally still on the fence about how legitimate this one is, but without any further ado, let's just get into this and you guys can decide for yourselves if you should believe it. So our source today is an anonymous post on the VideoGameLeaks subreddit, so we're not off to a great start. The source also claims that they got their information from their fiance's brother, which also is not a great start. But I will say that this post has been up for a lot longer than I expected it to be. Normally when something obviously fake gets posted to the VideoGameLeaks subreddit, the mods take it down or they put a big fake label on it. But this post has been up for almost 4 days now at the time that I'm recording this video. So I don't know if the mods have actually heard more about this particular rumor or if they just think it's weird enough to keep up and boost engagement. So before we get into the actual contents of the leak, again, I'm just telling you to take this one with a grain of salt because the source is very flimsy. But again, it's weird enough to almost be believable. So anyway, OP says that their fiance's brother works for a game developer and they mentioned offhand that they're working on a Star Wars game starring the Ewoks. Apparently the gameplay is going to be similar to the Pikmin series and have a very casual vibe to it, but OP also made it clear that this is not going to be a mobile game, so it'll be a full console release seemingly intended to directly compete with Pikmin, which I guess would actually make sense given the fact that Pikmin 4 is around the corner. OP did not give any release window or additional information, but assuming this is true, there is apparently an Ewok-themed Pikmin ripoff in development somewhere. Now, before you go ahead and dismiss these rumors outright, because I wanted to do that as well, I do want to point out that Disney made it clear not too long ago that they're going to seriously crank up their Star Wars game output, reportedly working with a ton of different developers and publishers with the goal of releasing 2 Star Wars games every fiscal year, with at least one of those being AAA quality. For the longest time, EA had the exclusive rights to Star Wars games, but after they screwed up their relationship with Disney, the Star Wars IP is now being licensed out to multiple studios, which is why there's currently a Ubisoft Star Wars game in development, there's a remake of Knights of the Old Republic in development, and there's Star Wars Eclipse in development at Quantic Dream. And obviously EA is still making and funding Star Wars games, like Jedi Survivor and the upcoming Respawn FPS, but they no longer have the exclusive rights to the IP. And since Disney reportedly wants 2 Star Wars games a year, it would honestly make sense for them to commission something along the lines of this Ewok leak. Like I said, Disney wants 2 Star Wars games a year, but only one of those has to be AAA quality, meaning every 12 months or so we'll be getting something of the scale and budget of Jedi Survivor or Battlefront, but we'll also be getting something smaller and more casual in between those big releases. So with that context, a Pikmin-style game starring the Ewoks would honestly fit right in. It'd be a great change of pace for Star Wars fans, and it would be a good way to break into the casual market for Star Wars games after, stuff like Jedi Survivor kind of marketed themselves as a more serious and story-driven game. So honestly, I don't know where I stand on this leak, because on one hand, I think the source is incredibly flimsy and not exactly believable, but on the other hand, the concept is just weird enough to be believable, and the timing makes total sense for it to be legitimate. I mean, I would play an Ewok reskin of Pikmin, and I know I'm not the only one, but what do you guys think? Do you think there's actually a Pikmin ripoff Star Wars game in development, or do you think this is just a bored Reddit user trying to boost engagement? Make sure you let us know in the comments what you think about this. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on so you don't miss any future leak videos, and I'll see you in the next one.